Yummy, yummy food. I love food. How about you? What do you love to eat? What don't you like to eat? And if somebody tells you that you can't have what you really like, or you should eat something that you don't like, does that make any sense to me? To me, that's just silliness. Why would I eat food that I don't like? Why would I waste calories on things that I don't want to eat, that I don't like the taste of? And if I love to eat something and somebody says you can't have, mustn't have, shouldn't have, don't have, isn't it possible that I want it more? Then if you have a look at the state of the world from a health point of view, fat, sick, weak, diseased, depressed, and getting worse, we're doing something wrong. Is it possible that if people love to eat food and we tell them what they can't have, it becomes all too hard? The process to be healthy is all too hard, so they just can't be bothered. And we live in a world now where there's lots of medical interventions, there's lots of pills, there's weight loss drugs, there's all these ways that you can supposedly get healthy by a pill, powder or potion. Because the simple way of being really fit, being really strong and fueling your body effectively seems to be really hard. Is it possible that as exercise professionals, personal trainers, gym owners, healthy, fit, strong people, that we've made it too hard for the people that aren't healthy, fit and strong because we act like fanatics. We make it look too hard. There's so many people who brag about, I only have this many calories, I only eat these healthy foods, and I never eat chocolate, and I never drink beer, and that food's bad for you, and you shouldn't eat that. And we preach and we tell, and we're so proud of ourselves for all the fanatical things that we do. But is it possible that we turn people off because of that? What if we just live in moderation? And I always ask these questions. Food is made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, all food. Some food has nutritional value, some doesn't. Is it possible that some food, however, is good for your headspace, it's good for your mental health? Have you ever enjoyed a food just because it's yummy? So why would you take that away from somebody? And then attached to that is if I can't have it, I'm angry because I want it and I can't have it. Or if I eat it and it's supposedly a bad food, then I feel guilty. Can stress and guilt and anger be good for your body? I don't think so. So what if we put everything into moderation? And I always use that as an example. If I drink too much alcohol, I get drunk. If you eat too much food, you get fat. So don't drink too much and don't eat too much. And maybe in moderation, everything's okay. If you tell somebody they can't have it, is it possible they want it more? If you make it accessible, and if somebody, and I use this as an example because it's a question that I always ask. I've been a personal results coach all of my life. I've worked one-on-one with people all of my life. And I always ask this question, what foods do you absolutely love to eat? And I always follow that up with, we will always include those foods in your healthy eating plan. It takes all the pressure off. Then I ask the question, what are the foods that you don't like to eat? And then I follow that up with, we will never put any of those in your healthy eating plan. Because why would you tell somebody to eat something that they don't like? It just seems absolutely ridiculous. So what if we were healthy, fit and strong so that our body burnt up everything that we put into it? So that you could have a piece of cake or you could have a glass of wine or you could have some lollies or an ice cream or a packet of chips without feeling guilty, without feeling bad. And as a personal results coach and somebody that's worked with people who have had for me, the most sad life, because if you don't love food, if you feel guilty if you eat food, if you're morbidly obese because you eat too much food and food is controlling your life, that is really a horrible place to live. And I've worked with so many people that that's how they live their lives. They either don't want to be eating because they want to be in full control of themselves, so they're anorexic, or they eat enormous amounts of food and then they throw it up or take laxatives to poo it out, or both, so they're bulimic. They exercise for hours and hours and hours every time they eat something that they think is a bad food because they're an exercise bulimic. Or they are literally morbidly obese because they just keep eating and eating and eating because something about food is controlling their life. And I don't want people to live like that. I want people to love their food. Now, you might not be a person that gets great pleasure out of food, but is it possible that there are people in this world who really love to eat? Food is their thing. They get excited about it. They love to cook. They love the food experience. And imagine being an exercise professional, a personal trainer, a gym owner, a social media influencer who comes along and says, you can't do that, it's bad for you. Don't eat after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but their favorite meal is dinner. You're not allowed to drink alcohol anymore, it's bad for you, but they love to have a glass of wine. You can't eat chocolate because it's bad for you, but it's their favourite food. Why do we do that to people? If we really want people to be mentally and physically fit, healthy and strong, and the two go together, if you restrict what you love to eat, if you're feeling guilty if you eat something you think you shouldn't, what does that do to your mental health? And if you are screwed up in the head, if you're stressed, if you're angry, if you feel guilty, psychologically, emotionally, what does that then do to your body physically? Because all of those things work together. So rather than preaching and teaching and telling people what they can and can't do about their food, how about ask them, what do you love to eat? What don't you like to eat? Your healthy eating plan will always include what you love to eat, and your healthy eating plan will never put in, and don't put stuff into your mouth that you don't like to eat. That just doesn't make any sense. And really more importantly, why would we tell anybody what to eat? There's a really special question about food. If you were your own high performance eating coach, what advice would you give you? Because most people know what works for them. Most people know what they think is the right thing to do when it comes to food. But why is there a right or wrong thing? How about eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, eat the foods that you love, don't eat the foods that you don't like, and have a healthy, fit, strong, lean body that burns up everything that you put into it. To me, that's the entire process of food. I'm going to say it again. Eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, don't eat anything that you don't like, eat all the foods that you love, and make sure you've got a healthy, fit, strong body that burns up everything that you put into it so you can be healthy, fit, strong, lean, physically and mentally for the rest of your life, so that you can live your life to the max. Come into the kitchen, open the fridge and say, what do I want to eat? Because I'm hungry. Eat what you love. Woohoo!